Welcome back to another episode, guys. Playing with the FB. I'm getting some stuff done. Let's have a look. I'll show you what I'm up to. So since we last spoke, I've been playing a lot. I have these back in here for the moment. They're actually holding in the pedal box on the inside. I've even put the handbrake cable back in there. Look at that. See? Progress. Around this side, oh, we have a windscreen as well. That went in the other day. In here, oh, I took my torch away. No, I didn't. I have my torch here. In here, I've put the pedal box back in, all reconditioned, pulled it all apart, cleaned it and painted it. Same with my handbrake assembly. Came up very nicely. Look at the pedal box. She's sexy. Now, this bracket here is the new mounting bracket for my OCD Metalworks steering column, which is a very, very cool little bit of gear. But we've got to make some more alterations because, you know, one modification requires at least another 3 modifications. This hole here is where the steering column used to go through, but the old steering column was the fixed shaft that, you know, if you have an accident, goes straight through you, whereas we have to have a collapsible column. So that's going to have to be a solid plate for mounting the base of the column over here. So, need to do some more sit-ups and get fit. That's our steering column in there. She's a really nice little bit of gear. Let's go and have a look at what I'm doing with the firewall bit. This setup here is how it used to go through the firewall. That used to mount in there on that opening that we just saw, and the column would just pass through here with a seal. This was doing nothing structurally other than filling in a hole. So we can't use that. It's not going to have the strength we need because the bottom of the column now has to be mounted, so to speak. Over to this little fellow. This is a piece of 2mm steel. Look at that. That'll do the trick, eh? That'll be a solid mounting face. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to use these little angle bits, one there type scenario. This piece here goes on here, and that will give us back the same shape that this had, so that the column goes through on the right angle, and then we're going to cut a big hole in it so the steering column goes through it. It's got this mad gimbal mounting plate that goes on here. So I'm going to tack this little fella up, and we'll see how it fits up. This OCD Metalworks steering column arrangement's pretty hardcore, eh? So what I've done is I've tacked these couple of bits on here, and I've set it to where I think it's going to need to sit based on back and forth with the car. This is what they call their gimbal mount that goes on the bottom of the steering column where it goes through the firewall. The original instructions said to reuse that, but I just wasn't feeling it. So it's got this little thing in here. It's really neat, and it allows for a bit of misalignment when you go through your firewall. It's very cool. It doesn't fall out. It's in 2 pieces. It's the funkiest little unit. There you go, you can see it there. OCD Metalworks, made in Australia. Yeah, Australian made. That's what we want. Anyway, I was just double checking that this is going to sit on here really nicely, and it will. I like to drill a big oversized hole so that the gimbal can actually do gimbal things and have that misalignment when it goes through the firewall. It's only going to be a little bit because I've got this plate so damn close. I think we'll be sitting like that. It's going to be bugger all. So I'm going to go ahead and weld this on here, and I'm going to drill a big hole through both pieces, and I'll put a piece of tube inside of that so it sort of seals it back up. So yeah, let's get this welded out. It's TIG time, baby. And that's what it looks like. I've stitched it all together. I don't want to fully weld it because it'll probably just distort, and stitching it's going to be plenty strong enough, and we're going to stitch this to the firewall as well. Now to work out where to drill a hole in this thing based off of the original piece. Go something along those lines there. So we'll put a hole in it there, but I'm going to go oversized in the hole so the column's got plenty of clearance to it, and we will put a tube between, so you got obviously a depth and a void in there now. We'll fully weld a tube inside there. So I'm going to go over to the drill press and get this sorted. And that's what the finished result looks like. They're all welded up. Looking pretty schmick. I let it stick through. That's going to be the outside of the firewall, and it's going to be the inside. So I just let it stick through that little bit. I think that'll help. It sits like that. Where's it sit there? On a downwards angle. So any water or stuff that does get in the engine bay, at least it'll have some sort of protection from getting back up in, even though it will be sealed. Figure that won't hurt. So yeah, let's go see if that's going to work in the car. Now, we've got to mount that gimbal piece, which is over on the other bench, but this is going to be that platform that it mounts on I've just welded that in and out all the way around. I've done that because I want it to be super strong on there, and then we're going to drill these out and we're going to tap those. That'll give us a proper bit to bolt to. That'll make it rock solid, and that pretty much wraps this show up. We'll drill these out now, throw it back in the car one more time, then we're going to prep and we're going to weld this whole show in the car. Pretty chuffed on it. She's working out real nice. That, I'm hoping, is the finished product. I've been at this for quite a while. But I'm pretty happy with how it all came out. I think that's pretty neat. This piece here that we did first, I'll get my filler rod as a pointer. This piece here and this bit here mimics what the factory piece was, and that is just a bit heavy duty. The factory piece is quite thin, maybe 0.9, maybe 1 mil. This is 1.6 or 2 mil or 1.8, somewhere around that. I'd have to double check what we went with in the end. But let's call it 2 mil for the sake of the argument. So I've stitch welded all that together. This is fully welded along this edge. And then this piece that the gimbal bolts to is fully TIG welded all the way inside and outside. We tap some threads for the bolts to bolt it all together. So, there's a big storm going through right now. Thunder and all that hoo-ha. So I'm going to call it a night and go get some dinner. But stay with us because we'll be back very soon. We've got to mount this thing up in the morning and run the steering. Like as in like the linkage shaft with the steering wheel on. So it's we're getting progress here. That's what I'm saying. It's coming together for me. So yeah, this bit here. So this will fill in here. I'll have to just clean up where these holes were for the screws that came through. And we'll weld this whole show in here. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to cut this back about here. I want to drop this down lower a little bit. Steering comes through here. The only reason I want to drop it down lower a little bit, and I may do this at a later date, we might mess with it a bit, is when the engine's back in here, we've got to do headers that come, fender wall headers are going to come up, over and down back through this way. I just think if that was a little bit lower, that wouldn't hurt the situation, so that's all I'm thinking there. And then if we get time, we've got the new Willwood booster to fit up as well. Where'd I put that? I've got so much stuff on the go right now. Anyway, I know it's around here somewhere. So yeah, prep all this up. I'm going to bother tonight, kind of had enough, and it's a nice rainy night to chill out and watch some TV. So yeah, let's tackle that in the morning. It's a new day. Be it all a wet day, whatever. Doesn't bother me though. Right, so we've got a plate here ready to rip. Now I've got to go through and clean all this up. All these bits here where the screws used to be, they have to go. We need to obviously clean this back for painting. So that's my ticket to do right now. Get my grinder. Just hammer and dollied it a little bit. Let's neaten this up for welding. That's how she's going to sit. Just got a little bit of a gap over here because it's distorted the plate a little bit. I'll just hit that out a little bit. It's not much. I can make that work pretty easily. The rest of it sits really nicely all the way around. And then yeah, column goes straight through there. Look at that for a clean shot. Ah, I didn't even notice that. You can pretty much see the steering shaft to the steering box on the other side. It's funny because this is the factory location, and that's a factory location out there for the Toyota Stout steering box. Like, it's so close to lining up. It's pretty nuts. That's cool, eh? Anyway, let's get this set up for welding. Well, a lot's happened. I've got it welded in, but I've made some miscalculations, and my column is fouling right here. And what I've done is this depth here is too great. We've tried to stand that inner plate more facing up for the column, which is cool. That worked really well. When I welded the inner tube in, it's flush with the angle that the steering column is running at, but it's not quite the same angle because we couldn't put that much angle into this plate. So what is happening is the column still comes through here on a bit of an angle, and it's fouling this edge. So I'm just going to cut this down and just notch a recess in the lower part of this outer piece. Makes no difference to it structurally. It's just a bugger that I have to do it essentially. But I miscalculated and now I have to fix it. So I'm just going to cut it, air saw down each side, put a notch in here, recess it back, it'll be mint. I hope this blows everyone's mind as much as it blows mine. That is the Toyota Stout steering box on the chassis as it came. What I did was cut down the shaft and adapt it to that double D uni. That is the factory location where the steering would have come through on an FB Holden. All I've done there is obviously changed out for a different column, but I ran that hole where that hole's meant to be. That's how it's meant to be. Check this out. Like, that's pretty close. This one shoots a little bit that way, and this one's shooting more inwards. Other than that, they're pretty bloody close. Anyway, it's in. It's in. I just had to take a little bit out of this bottom edge here so that the column came through without fouling at all. And then on the inside here, there's my torch. Look at that. It's glorious. I'm very, very happy with how this has worked out. So yeah, it's a column all mounted up. And there's my OCD Metalworks steering column with their special billet gimbal arrangement. It's very cool. And my very, very sexy Firewall mount for it. I think it's sexy anyway. I'm pretty stoked myself. So that's that. This will have to come out when I paint the Firewall again, because now I have to paint the Firewall again. And I'm going to take, see that, the dark line here, and where I've painted it here, I'm going to take all this crap off the Firewall here, because if you get the right spot, can you see it tonight? There you go, see that? There's holes in my Firewall. It's not sealed properly anymore. So I have to dig all that out. I'm not looking forward to that job. But I've got to paint the Firewall again anyway, so no harm, no foul. Took the handbrake back out, because otherwise it would have fried when I welded it. So my next job is, get out of there. I need to shorten up the shaft coming out of the steering box, because, well, that, as the engineer said, as Adam said, I'll sit on my tyre here, we've got too much length coming out of here that's unsupported. So we're going to cut this back to about here, and move this down to here, and then wherever I dropped that thing to, there it is. The intermediate shaft will have this mounted to it in the center to give it extra support. Another double D up here, piece of shaft in between. We have steering, people. Not quite as far as I wanted to be this weekend. This did take me a little while, and actually that's my second attempt at that. I had another idea, and I decided this idea was better, so we went with this. I was hoping to mount the new master cylinder for the brakes to Savo as well, but anyway, it's all progress. We're going to have steering soon. So I'll pull this off and shorten this shaft up and work out the intermediate shaft. Now it's a little stumpy one. Look at that. Isn't it cute? Oh, it's a rebuilt box, so it's a bit tight. So yes, anyway, that's going to be that. Not really sure where it is as far as in the box right now. We'll have to calculate that a little bit later on. But this is where we're at. Move that out of my way. So yeah, I just got to cut a piece to go in between here. Why does that look bigger than that and that? I may have the wrong fitting on there. Anyway, I've got a couple of extras. I'll go through my box and see what I got. Actually, let's see how I do it together. Just over here. Most of my stuff is racked up over here that I'm going to be utilising at some point. And this box right here is everything we want right now. Let's just grab this out without dropping it. Tear my shirt on the back of the car here. Gets me nearly every time. Alright, let's have a squeeze. Bought a really big long length. Because me being me, I don't always get things right the first time. So there's a chance I might not get it right the first time. And I'll have two shots at the title. You know how it is, you cut it just a little bit too short and you can't put it back on. So we have heaps. Anyway, this should be this, if I got the right stuff. It's looking pretty good there, isn't it? You reckon is that the same? I think it is. But it's too big for here. It's way too big for there. I must have bought the wrong thing here, because this is small this side and big this side. I must have had another plan at some point. This is a problem, like, I started doing the chassis side of this, God, it's got to be at least 3 years ago now, maybe more. Yeah, something like that anyways, nonetheless. I must have thought that was what I needed. I do have more of these, and these do appear to be the right same size each side. Okay, so that's cool. I'll just knock this fellow off, fit one of these here, one up there, and we should be back in the game. And just like that, I was dead in the water. Can't believe it. This moron, being me, that's a splined end, and that's the double D. Why the hell did I buy splined ends? I clearly misread some listing somewhere, because it makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, that does go on there, it's the correct one for there. But this is splined. I don't have splined shaft, so I don't know what I was thinking there. Unfortunately, this one here is in the same boat. Splined. That's the showstopper right there, people. Bugger. Yep. Well, let's take a seat on my tyre here. I'm going to sign this off for this, I suppose. I got nothing else I can say other than I am an idiot and I bought the wrong parts. Or will I? Or will I just go and get the right parts? I'll probably be here in a couple of days. We could probably make this video work. Let's make this video work. I'm going to order stuff right now. I can do that because we have the internet. I'm going to order some stuff right now and let's get some parts. Let's finish this up. I want this video to be complete. So one day when I look back at it, I'll go, yeah, that's right. That's the pain and suffering I went through to build this race car. Yeah, anyway, cool. I'm going to order some stuff. A long-running project is something that can get away from you extremely quickly without you even realizing. This is still the same video, but it's been, I'm going to say, a month since I actually touched the car. It's nice tonight. I need to get the steering finished up. And literally all I have to do is put this piece of shaft in. I got the correct bits. Actually, let's go into the office and talk about that real fast. The office being right here is very convenient. I had to get the right U-joints, as we saw. Now, just stuff here, sorry, excuse my mess, I've been very busy. This is Australian rod and custom compliance right here. I chose Australian rod and custom for these pieces, which they must be out there, because they actually have the correct compliance to go with it, so that when I get this car certified and engineered, we're going to be all good. We're not going to have any issues, which I don't need any problems with this. I need everything to go smoothly, and I need to use all the correct parts. So, right now I've got to... Where's my finger? There it is. Join this gap. That's all I've got to do. You can see the black joint over there. The black one is the correct one. That's the other one that I already had. And up on the back shelf there, that big long box, that is the double D shaft. I'm literally just going to put that in there. That's going to complete this video. Which, it's one of those things, you know, you put a lot of time and effort into building cars, and there's hurdles and things to overcome, and parts you need to acquire, and especially when you're doing an engineered car, to get things correct and do it the right way, it takes a little bit of extra time. The steering column thing took a long time, a lot longer than I would have thought or wanted it to. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but with projects you fall out of love every once in a while. That's the best way I can put it, I think. And that's kind of what happened here. But tonight it's been bothering me now, so now I just have to finish it up. So I'm going to quickly knock that out. I'll show you the finished product. I'm going to throw the steering wheel on, and we're done on this part of the car. I'll move on to something else. Plus, as you probably saw, everything's happened since then. I bought a Jeep, for crying out loud. So I've got to get the engine out of the Jeep and deal with that. So let's just knock this out and finish this video. I have somewhat finished a thing. So let me show you. You will notice one thing is not finished, and that is the stabilizer piece. I'm actually not going to do that right now because the engine still has to go back in, and I'm just don't want to at this point. We'll wait until the motor's in, and I can work out exactly where I want that, because I've got to bring the exhaust up and over this steering shaft. Check this out though. Take a moment, right? That is a Toyota Stout steering box. That is the factory location for an FB Holden steering shaft. Box would have been way back there on the chassis. Look at that. Is that not the best freaking... That's nuts, right? That just aligns beautifully. Anyway, this is done. That's done. I'm going to paint some stuff. That's fine. We'll get to that. This is my favorite part. Check this out. My steering wheel's in. Now, the big thing I went with OCD Metalworks is it's a fully ADR compliance tested steering column. So that's perfect. But they could also do it to retain my factory steering wheel, which is a big deal. Look at that emblem. That is in perfect condition. It's a bit dirty. Those scratches you're seeing aren't really actually there. It's only really showing up on the camera, funnily enough. It's perfect. Steering wheel is reasonable. The chrome work's not great, but I don't care. It's staying the way it is. I've got the springs in there for the horn right now. But look at this. Wheels turn. We have steering. I'm very happy. This has been coming for a while. So yeah, that is fun, fantastic. I am freaking pumped. I love the way that steering wheel looks. I really want to keep it old school. I just wanted to keep it the way it was meant to be. So I'm very, very happy with that. I'm quite chuffed. So anyway, that'll do for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. It kind of got away on me, but I brought it all back home, I guess, in the end. There you have it. Anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys on another episode of Shed Night.